Shalom. I welcome the Light of the Hill Ministry, and in today's teaching, we will be continuing the study on Genesis. If you want to follow along, I will be posting this in the comment box below. And now, under the teaching. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their array. And in the seventh day, Elohim completed his work which he had done. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and set it apart, because on it he rested from all his work which Elohim in creating had made. Genesis 2, verses 1 through 3. As we have noted in the beginning of the study on Genesis, Yahweh wants to build a house for his family, his son. And his son Yahushua is looking for a bride to come and dwell with him. The word completed is the Hebrew word kala, Strong's number H3615, which means finished, completed, to come to an end or accomplished, and is very similar to the word kala, Strong's H3618, which means a bride. And so carries a wonderful picture for us of a bride who has made herself ready and presents herself as one prepared. The Hebrew word that is used for the seventh is Shabba'i, Strong's number H7637, which simply means seventh, which comes from the word Shabbat, Strong's number H7651, which is a primitive cardinal number 7, also adverbially 7 times. By implication, a week, by extension, an indefinite number. And this comes from the primitive root verb Shabbat, Strong's H7650, which means to swear, exchange oath, to take an oath, vow, from which the word Shabbat comes from. The Hebrew word for rested used here in verse 3 is Shabbat or Shabbat, Strong's H7673, which means to cease, desist, rest, observe the rest, put an end, which expressed as a causative action can be understood as meaning to cease or put to an end, remove, exterminate, destroy, cause to desist from. The difference between the root words Shabbat, Strong's H7676, and Shabbat is that Shabbat is the intensive form coming from Shabbat, which means to rest or observe. And the intensive form of Shabbat refers specifically to the Sabbath, as in the seventh day of the week. It is on this day that Yahweh Elohim chose to set it apart from the others to be a day of rest to him, or in him. He could have chosen day 1, or day 2, or 3, but no, Yahweh chose the seventh day. Why is the Sabbath so important, you may ask? And does it really matter which day is the Sabbath? The answer is yes, it does matter, because the Yahweh is a sign, and he wants us to observe that sign. What many fail to realize is that this sign is actually also an invitation, that Yahweh, our King, is inviting all to come, and our presence is required. And on this invitation is a date and time. The envelope is sealed with the King's signet, which makes the invitation even more important. You may ask yourself, but why? And the answer is that the King loves you, and wants your presence at all of his special occasions. And this king remembers all of his special occasions and expects his bride to do the same. The thing is, this special occasion happens every week. We're all required to remember it, as it says in Exodus 20. Remember the Sabbath day to set it apart. 6 days you labor, and you shall do all your work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh your Elohim. You do not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. Exodus 20, verses 8 through 11. The Father's weekly Sabbath day begins at sunset on what the world calls Friday evening, and lasts until sunset on what the world calls Saturday evening. This is his special anniversary, It is a day when we remember his rest by resting it in the same manner as Yahweh did, by ceasing from our own works. Like with any anniversary, we want to make that day set apart as special for Yahweh. So the question becomes, how do we keep the Sabbath day? Thankfully, Yahweh tells us how he wants this day to be set up. And there are 7 things he wants us to do. And that is, 1, remember it. As previously talked about in Exodus 20, verse 8 through 11. The word for remember is H2142, zakar, and is a primitive root, properly to make, so as to be recognized, that is, to remember, by implication to mention, also to be male. Yahweh wants us to mark it on his calendar so that we can make mention of it as a day he himself made special. And by marking it, what we are saying to Yahweh is, you are important in my life enough to be there with you. The second thing he asks us to do to make this day special is to keep or guard the day as set apart. Guard the Sabbath day to set it apart as Yahweh your Elohim commanded you. Deuteronomy 5, verse 12. The Hebrew word for guard is H8104, shamar, a primitive root word, properly to hedge about, as with thorns, that is, guard, generally to protect, attend to exercise great care over. Think about this word for a moment and ask the question, why does someone guard? They guard something because they think it of high value. And so we protect and exercise great care over something that we value highly. Same goes with Yahweh's Sabbath days. We are to make sure that we think highly of it enough to protect it at all costs. The Hebrew word picture of shamar is a sheep bowl of thorns. When a shepherd was out in the wilderness with his flock for the night, he would gather thorn bushes and erect a quarrel to place his flock to protect them from the predators. This protecting hedge of thorns is the picture behind the Hebrew word shamar, better translated as preserve or guard than keep, as we see in the following verse. Yahweh does guard him and keep him alive. He is blessed on the earth, and you do not hand him over to the desire of his enemies. Psalms 41, verse 2. Yahweh values us enough to protect us from the predators by giving his Sabbath day. How? By keeping us surrounded in his presence and resting in him. The enemy would like us to be so busy and worried about our life that we surrender to his will and fear. But Yahweh wants us to rest in him, keeping ourselves free from the clutter of weeds of wickedness. The third thing Yahweh wants to do to make sure the Sabbath is special is to not profane it. Blessed is the man who does this, and the Son of Man who becomes strong in it, guarding the Sabbath lest he profane it, and guarding his hand from doing any evil. Isaiah 56, verse 2. The Hebrew word for profane is Strong's number H2490, halal, a primitive root, properly to bore, that is, by implication to wound, to dissolve, figuratively to profane a person, place, or thing, to break one's word. In ancient times, a string or sinew was wrapped around the bow drill in order to bore a hole into wood or stone. Holes were bored to give a place of egress for chisel or other tools to do their work, for whatever purpose man was determined for or has determined for it. This is the everyday, common, and profane use of a bow drill and the stone in service of man's daily work and responsibilities. And if you make a slaughtering place for stone, do not build it of cut stone, for if you use your chisel on it, you have profaned, bored it. Exodus 20, verse 25. In other words, we aren't supposed to make Yahweh's special day a common day. If we do, we will hurt him and thus break our word to him. What we would want to do is make sure we don't profane his Sabbath by making sure we have completed our work for the week and do nothing that displeases Yahweh. That means no buying and selling either, lest we make others work on this day as well. But the Sabbath day is the Sabbath of Yahweh your Elohim. You do not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. Exodus 20, verse 10. That if the people of the land bring their wares or grain to sell on the Sabbath day, we would not buy it from them on the Sabbath or on the set apart day, and we would forego the seventh year at the interest of every hand. Nehemiah 10, verse 31. The fourth thing Yahweh wants us to do to make the Sabbath special is preparing the Sabbath as Moshe told us to do in Exodus 16. And it shall be on the sixth day that they shall prepare what they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. Exodus 16, verse 5. The Hebrew word for prepare is Strong's number H3559, kun, a primitive root, properly to be erect, that is, stand perpendicular, hence causatively to set up, in a great variety of application, whether literal, establish, fix, prepare, apply, or figurative, appoint, render sure, proper, or prosperous. The Hebrew word picture for prepare has the idea of setting something firmly in place, either physically or with words. When you set something firmly in place, it supports it. When we make the Sabbath special, we make sure that it is firmly secure by gathering in what we need the day before. Like preparing meals for the Sabbath day on the sixth day, or what the world calls Friday, so that we will not do any cooking on the Sabbath day, and we will not kindle a fire on the Sabbath day as Yahweh commands. Do not kindle a fire or any of your dwellings on the Sabbath day, Exodus 35, verse 3. In doing so, it assures us that we keep our focus on the one who created the day. The fifth thing we can do to make the Sabbath special is to call the Sabbath day a delight. If you turn your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my set-apart day, and shall call the Sabbath a delight, the set-apart day of Yahweh honorable. It shall honor it, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words. Isaiah 58, verse 13. The word for delight in Hebrew is Strong's number H6027, oneg, meaning luxury. From the Strong's number H6026, anog, a primitive root, to be soft or pliable, that is figuratively effeminate or luxurious. While I believe that this particular passage is talking about Yom Kippurim, we can apply this to all Sabbaths in general. The way we can make Yahweh's day luxurious is to make sure Yahweh is the center of the day and not ourselves. After all, it is His anniversary. What we do is stop speaking our own words and doing our own ways, and find ways to praise and think on Him for the day. Most of all, honor Him on this day, which leads us to the next point, and that is honor. The sixth thing we do to make the Sabbath special is to honor Yahweh. The Hebrew word for honor in Isaiah 58 verse 13 is Strong's number H3513, is kabod, a primitive root, to be heavy, that is, in a bad sense, burdensome, severe, dull, or in a good sense, numerous, rich, honorable, causatively, to make weighty, in the same two senses. In ancient times, what they would do is put something on a scale and measure the worth of something. And based on the heaviness, it would be its value. They would weigh the good and bad into something based on the weight of it. One would take the good for himself because they saw it as valuable. This is where we get the idea of respect, because when we weigh out what is given to us, we value it. And this is the idea behind the Hebrew word kabod. So when we honor the Sabbath, we say that it is valuable because we see Yahweh who made it as valuable to us. And this we show forth the last and final thing to make sure the Sabbath is a special day. That is to show our love towards Yahweh and His Son, Yahushua, His Messiah. We do this by setting His Sabbath day apart from the rest of the days of the week. Yahweh's Sabbath days have not changed because He Himself does not change. For I am Yahweh, I shall not change, and you, O sons of Yaakov, shall not come to an end. Malachi 3, verse 6. And since He does not change, neither does His anniversary day change. Messiah understood this and kept His Father's Sabbath day. Luke says in his good news about Yahushua, and He came to Nazareth, where He had been brought up, and according to His practice, He went into the congregation on the Sabbath day and stood up to read. Luke 4, verse 16. If it was His practice, then it should be ours as well. We should be practicing it on a weekly basis, just as He did. Yahushua kept the commandments, and He came to set an example for us to follow it. He told us to keep the same commands as He did in John 15. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love, and even as I have guarded my Father's command, and stay in His love. John 15, verse 10. Why did He do them? Because He honored His Father's Sabbath day. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, and you speak to the children of Israel, saying, my Sabbaths you are to guard by all means, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, to know that I, Yahweh, am setting you apart. Exodus 31, verses 12 through 13. May we all desire to make Yahweh's day special and set it apart. Remember it, keep it, or guard it. Not profane it, call it a delight. Honor it and love it, so that we may enjoy the rest that He has created for us to have, and ultimately enjoy Him. Hallelujah. If you like this teaching, please comment, like, share, and subscribe, and click on the notification button to be notified of the next teaching. Yahweh bless. Shalom to your homes.